Welcome everybody. This is the Wall Street Image Podcast. This is the very first, so I'm super excited about it. I got a good friend of mine, a brother who I would consider. Been knowing this guy for a couple of years now, but it seems like we've been knowing each other much longer. Today we're going to be talking about photography and video, which is a passion of mine as well as a passion of his. I really appreciate Spencer McClenty because of the fact that very talented in the field of videography, video editing, marketing in general. Like, he's just phenomenal. But he holds a really special place in my heart because we are Christian brothers. We're just kind of talk to you about some of our experiences and talk about some of the good, some of the bad, and some of the ugly things that we've encountered and we've experienced, and just kind of talk about his experience in it. One other thing that I want to note is that he actually gave me my first big break when it comes to like video production, because I was kind of just trying to get my business off the ground. I had reached out to Jackson State University, which I actually attended a couple of times, wanted to produce a video for them. He actually works at Jackson State and gave me my first big break, so I could really just sing the song. He saw the best in me when everyone else around. Yeah, but Spencer, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How did you actually get into like the video production and the marketing?
First of all, thanks for all those kind words. I'll give you a check sometime later. Man, I started at Jackson State in 2006. I graduated from Jackson State in 2006 in May.
Right.
So I started working there in September. So I actually learned how to do photography while I was there. I learned videography as a student in the mass comm department.
Right.
But I learned photography while I was there. I learned graphic design while I was there. So of course, social media marketing, marketing in general, I learned that over time while at Jackson State. So it's been a fun ride, just picking up these skills. That's something that I thought was always important, is to be able to, constantly add skills and, to make yourself valuable, to have more skills, add skills as you go along, and it's just, better develop you as a professional.
Absolutely. So what do you love most about like just the creative process in terms of like creating videos and even just doing
that's what it is. The creative process itself, to me, the strategizing, the thinking, being able to go out to a place sometimes and just not even have all of your strategy together, but then you see something while you're out there. You know what I mean? Like that's a fun part for me. And then actually I like the editing part when it comes to photography. I like the editing part. I like to go out and take the pictures, but then it's, you can do so much more with editing to make a picture look the way you want it.
And so many people think that like you just pick up a camera and anybody who has a camera, because like nowadays everybody has a camera and they consider themselves to be like a photographer, a videographer, but there's a lot of skill that actually goes into it. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely, man. You got to be, you got to have an eye. A photographer is not just a person who has a camera who can snap a picture. Anybody can do that. Like you said, they got cameras on phones now. And every new iPhone is just an upgrade of the camera. That's all it is, right? You're just upgrading the camera. But it takes a level of skill, a level of understanding, knowing how to position a subject, in comparison and contrast to light. Understanding light, that's the most important thing, number one. When you understand light, you have to be able to understand lighting and lighting situations and different shades of light in order to be a good photographer. But then also positioning, understanding background and backdrops, knowing how to use it. You got a good camera, but if you don't know how to use it, then it's just, it's not any good in your hands.
People always ask me, like, what kind of camera should I buy? And I think, like, to me, I always tell people, the best camera to buy is the one that you can afford. Like, because a lot of people think that you buy an expensive camera and that equates to you being like a very great photographer. Your pictures are going to come out. But like, I've seen people who have like these super expensive cameras, but their pictures are just like subpar. And then you can give somebody who's very skilled and, like you mentioned, creative and talented, just a basic camera, because like it's more so about like how you can see. More so than what the camera can actually do. It's like you have to have like a certain eye and you have to, almost see something that other people can't see when they look at something. And I think that that's what sets, like very great photographers and videographers apart.
Some of the worst photographers have some of the best cameras.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
Right.
I've seen you and I both, we've been around.
Right.
Like some of the worst photographers have some of the best cameras.
Absolutely.
And they have the best gear. But if you don't know how to use it, if you don't understand aperture, you don't understand depth of field, you don't understand how to adjust your ISO and your lighting and understand it, like I said, the subject, how to put a subject in comparison and contrast to a backdrop, and knowing how to place them so that the light hits them at the right spot in the right place, understanding angles, understanding depth in terms of, like, you can have the best gear, but if you don't have the understanding and the knowledge and the skill, then it's just a waste of gear.
Yeah, and I think that I tell people also is that, like, they ask, like, what courses can you recommend for me shooting? I tell people, like, the way that I learned how to shoot is not by taking courses. It's just going out and shooting. Like, you will never learn how to become a skilled photographer until you actually pick up your camera and go out and shoot stuff. And sometimes the pictures are going to look trash, but when you look at it, you'll see what you could have improved, and each time you get better.
In order to really, really understand how to be a photographer, go take pictures.
Yeah.
Take pictures. I got another young man now. I tell him, look, take pictures of anything. Go outside. Take pictures of the bushes in front of the front of your
everything.
House. Like, take pictures of the grass. Find a blade of grass and focus on the blade. Like, just take pictures. Take pictures, and you'll learn how to do it from there.
Right. Because, like, you'll notice after you have done things so many times, it becomes natural to you. Like, and then you'll figure out what different settings do in your camera. And I think that also another important thing is to find out, like, what your camera can do. Like, figure out what happens if I change the shutter speed, what happens if I change the aperture or the ISO. Learn how to shoot in manual. Don't just use, like, these, these presets. Like, these, anybody can just have like an automatic aperture. Like, fiddle around with it and figure out, like, what these different settings do, because you'll be put in a situation that if you don't know, what happens if you're shooting a wedding and it's, like, completely dark.
That's it.
You didn't bring no, extra lights with you.
That's it.
You've got to work with the settings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you had it on automatic. You had it on programming on automatic, and you thought that would cover everything. Right. And it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. You have to be able to manually control the gear.
And speaking of that, let's just transition into this part, is that when you are a photographer, a videographer, any type of creative, and you're doing an event, what can go wrong will go wrong. It never fails, whether it's like forgetting a memory card or forgetting a battery or, bringing the wrong lens to a shoot. Like, what are some of the things that you've encountered, like, in your time, like messed up audio, or like, what are some of the things that you
I don't know how much time we got, but this is going to be a long segment. This is like, oh man. Let me start with the absolute worst thing.
Yeah.
The absolute worst thing that ever happened to me was, I did a wedding, videography for a wedding, nice wedding, nice couple. Right. This was in the Fundren area. Yeah. Large house. They had the wedding in the backyard. Yeah. So the house was large, and they had everything looked so nice, man. It was well decorated. I'm setting it up right. They had it all decorated, everything. And so I go, I film the wedding, and I go home. Yeah. Normally, what I would do, when I would get home, right then,
dump your footage. Y'all, that's a pro tip. Whenever you shoot anything for a client, like, I don't care. Please. I don't care what you're shooting. Like, whenever you get home, don't eat, don't take a bath, don't watch your car, don't watch your Netflix show. Always dump your footage. I'm gonna put it in layman's terms for some of y'all who don't understand what I'm saying. Take out your memory card and save a copy of all of your footage on your computer. Because something is going to go wrong. Either the car's going to corrupt, you're going to lose, just something's going to happen.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Look, so I didn't dump my footage.
Oh, man.
I didn't dump my footage. I left it on the car, and I went in. I think I saw my wife was cooking, so I ate. And maybe I said, I'll get to it the next day. Yeah. I was already editing another wedding. Yeah. So the next day came, and I just went to the other wedding that I was already editing.
Without dumping your footage?
I still didn't dump the footage.
Oh, man.
I still didn't dump the footage. So days go by, and I said, all right, I'm done with this. Let me get to the wedding that I need to do. I go to find the footage, and it's not there.
Oh, dang.
All of the footage, man, is...
See, okay, it's one thing, like, I've been in situations, let's just say I'm shooting a real estate video. I shoot a real estate video and I don't dump my footage, I can call the client back and say, hey, I need to I need to get back in the house because, you know, I can just tell them there's something I missed. I need to add something. I need to get some more footage. But how do you redo a wedding? Do you tell them, hey, y'all got to do y'all wedding again?
Man, dude, I mean, literally, my wife and I turned the house upside down, thinking it must have been on a different card. I lost the card. The kids then took it out of my bag. What happened? Weeks go by. I didn't even call the bride.
Wow.
I'm just searching and searching and searching.
Just hoping it's going to turn up.
Hoping it's going to show up. And it didn't show up.
Oh, man.
It didn't show up, man. It didn't show up. So I had to call that bride, man. And
that's probably like one of the hardest calls you got to make. Dude. That's like almost like telling somebody, like, I'm calling to let you know your grandma passed. like it's that bad. Like, dude, the feeling that you feel when you lose some footage. I remember shooting the event as well, and I was actually dumping my footage, but I don't know if I bumped the table or something and it dislodged the memory card. Yeah. And so, you know, if you ever, like, it tells you, like, do not eject this while it's saving, because it'll corrupt your card. It'll corrupt like the data on your card. So something or another happened. I think I may have like did one of these numbers and bumped the table, and then I turned around and it said card error. So I'm just thinking, okay, card error. So I'm like, okay, can I eject it? So I'm pushing the eject button. It says cannot eject this card, corrupted. So I'm just like, oh my God. Like, and this is when I'm first starting. So I'm like trying to build up my business and my clientele. It's one of the biggest projects. I'm like, how do I tell these people that? Man, losing footage is like one of the worst.
It's
feelings.
Horrible.
It's terrible.
And then, like I said, I had to call that bride and tell her that. I mean, that was, you know, that's it's about to bring tears in my eyes right now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's tough, man.
How do you tell a bride, like, I know this is your special day? Like, how does the conversation even start? Like I'm just calling to let you, because she probably sees that number.
Right,
like,
she's thinking,
my wedding is done. My wedding is done. I can't wait to see it.
Dude, you know, I could tell she was disappointed because, you know, I told her that I'm still searching, and, you know, I don't, you know, if anything shows up. I also offered her some other service, which was silly because why would she?
You're right, you know what I'm saying? Right.
She that just didn't go well, man.
Yeah. But at least you did the right thing, like, and just was honest. So what did you do, like, in return? Did you like refund them?
Yeah, I gave her all of the money back.
Yeah.
And I offered a free photo shoot if they wanted to do something anytime.
Man, that's tough. But we all have like experience. Like, I remember a wedding that I actually did, and this is kind of like one of my blunders. You just have to be like really quick on your feet with weddings. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell which wedding this is because like one of my wedding clients may be watching this and be like, "Oh, that was my wedding." But I remember going to a wedding, and I remember like having 2 cameras set up, and this is when I'm like first starting and everything. I took my wife with me. She was set up in the back. I just set up the camera, put it on sticks, just let her like just point and shoot, like just push record. So we like halfway through the wedding, I'm looking at the back like this is the most important part. They about to do the kiss. Like if you don't get nothing else,
get that,
please. Like if you miss anything, just don't miss the kiss.
Don't miss the kiss.
I'm like, okay, so I'm rolling with the gimbal. I'm like, okay, but I know they're gonna want the whole recorded wedding, so I'm just like, okay. So I'm looking back at my wife in the back, like we're ready to go, and I saw like it was like she saw a ghost. She gave me this look that just immediately like made my heart sink. She was just like, I don't know. I was like, I'm in the front,
right?
Where the bride and groom are. So they, doing the exchange of the vows, and he's getting ready to do that part. I run to the back. Wow. Like this is like a wedding that I got to nail. I run to the back of the church. I look up, no red light on there. I do it. As soon as I hit it, they said, you may kiss the bride. They kissed. I was at the back. I was blocking the camera. I'm in front of the camera trying to fiddle with it. And I said, oh my gosh. Man. I'm never going to get another wedding client. Like, I missed the kiss. But what I did, though, I improvised. After they proceeded out, they come back in with the photographers taking pictures and stuff. I said, you know what? y'all need to kiss like y'all really mean it. y'all did a good kiss, but y'all need to do something better. So I need the pastor to come back
let's do it again. Yeah,
let's do it. But this time do it with some emotion. And I made sure I nailed it that time. I threw that thing in that edit, and they never knew. They never knew. Hey, I don't know if they watching this actual podcast, but y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know I did that. They didn't know.
Now y'all know, right?
And it turned out lovely. And you know what? I kind of got out of the wedding game for a little while because, you know, weddings are stressful. Like, to me, the reason that I really got out of weddings, I like doing weddings because you can be creative. Right. You display love. You tell a story. Yeah. But the reason I kind of got out of it is because, like, it's like, first of all, it's so much preparation that goes into it. Yeah. You got to make sure that you prep your gear. Can't run out of batteries. Right. Make sure you got audio recorders. Everything. You know, you go through an entire day following the bride and the groom, making sure you're running this place, you're running that place. There's always going to be somebody in the wedding party or in the family who's going to want to be involved in this part. Hey, get me. Make sure you get me doing that. Yeah. So you got to deal with crazy folks in the family. Yeah. On top of that, you tired, you fatigued. Like, and one thing that I always do, I make sure that it's in my contract that I get a meal. Yes. At the wedding. Like, if I'm going to be shooting 8-9 hour day, you at least can provide me some fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? That's like, just let me eat with the family and I'll get back up when y'all get ready to cut the cake, do the speech. Right. But you go through this entire day, but then you still got to edit all this footage. You edit all this footage and you got to, like, to me, the worst part of doing weddings is like finding the right music. Like, you got to find.
Oh man, it takes hours.
It takes so much time.
Like, just to find music.
Like, and it seems like it would be simple, but that's the hardest part is finding the right music. And then you get this edit, this elaborate. You've listened to the song like 50 times now because you've scrubbed through it just to make sure there's no flaws, no errors. You send it to the bride and the groom, and they're like, eh. They're like you've been editing this thing like all day, all night, and they're like,
a lot of people, even beyond brides and grooms, just people in general, don't always know what goes into videography, what goes into editing, what goes in even to photography, editing photographs. Yeah, like sometimes people don't understand the amount of work, the amount of skill, the amount of sacrifice, and most importantly, the amount of time.
Time. Like, it's something that you can't get. Like, they don't realize how much time goes into it. And I can see why people charge upwards of like $4,000, $5,000 for a wedding video because, like, if you got skills and then you using all that time, I've done some amazing weddings in my opinion. I think one of the disadvantages that we have is that there's so much media out there. So a bride goes to YouTube or to HGTV or wherever, and they see these big elaborate venues. They look through these magazines and they say, "We want this." Right. But they don't recognize the people that you want, like in that magazine. Those are models. That's not a real bride. That's not a real groom. Like, they went out and picked these people to make you want what they selling.
You know how long they prepared, like for that model to be in that space, bro. That reminds me of Esther and the queen. How all of them had to go for like 12 months, man. They'll just walk up and just get it and stand up.
And you're comparing. You pay maybe $2,000, but they shot that on a $10,000 camera. Exactly. They got $50,000 worth of lights. They had $1 million venue. You know what I'm saying? They got all this stuff laid out. They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this look this way. Mm-hmm. And then you nickel and diming me, like you telling me, "Hey, can
$600?
You know that's above our budget, bro. you know what I'm saying? And you feel bad, so you cutting them a deal, right? And then they're like, but can you? And I'm gonna tell you one thing: the worst edit that a person can ask you for is to change the music.
But they don't understand why.
They don't understand why. Because you've edited this entire video to the tempo of this music. If you have to, so now I have to edit each individual clip and make it line up with this music because the beat is about to drop right here, and so you transition. You got the drone shot. Transition.
I mean, that's the most important part when you editing, especially doing wedding videos. Even if you do a commercial, if you have music. the music normally plays an important role in the editing process.
It carries you through. Yeah. It carries you through.
The music has highs and lows. The music has transitions. And so you want to make sure that you transition with the music in the video.
Right.
And so when you say, I don't like that music, let's switch to something
right.
else.
Like, why didn't you tell me what music you wanted at first? Like, I always ask, like, is there a specific song that you want?
Yeah.
No, you choose. And then, and then when I choose, you're just like,
yeah.
Well, man, we're gonna go into some rapid fire questions.
All right.
He has not seen these questions, so you got 2 seconds to answer. They right on the spot. All right, rapid fire questions. Photography or videography?
Videography.
Shooting or editing?
Editing. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Shooting or editing?
Okay, I'll say editing.
All right. Raw or JPEG?
Raw.
All right. Most important in photography, the pose or the retouch?
See, now you got this. If you get the pose right, then you don't have to do too much retouching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the pose on that one.
All right. Cool. Would you rather have expensive camera with cheap lens or expensive lens on a cheap camera?
The lens.
Always invest in glass. Always invest in good glass.
Always.
I would rather have a cheap camera than
I got a cheap camera. You know what I mean? But
get
I
it.
got one.
If you get some good glass, you set.
Yeah.
In your videos, would you rather have to fix bad audio or fix bad exposure?
I would rather bad exposure because it's
hard to fix.
It's too hard to fix audio.
Is so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, if you mess up audio, like I tell people, like if people can't see your video clearly, like if it's just like if they can't see it, but they can hear what you're saying, they'll watch it.
Yeah.
They'll watch it as long as they're getting something good out of it. But if they can't hear what you're saying, I don't care if you shoot it at 8K, 12K, 95K. If they can't hear what you're saying, they turning it off.
Turn it off. I don't care how great it is.
I don't care. So man, make sure that you nail that audio.
Get the audio right.
Here's a good one.
All right.
Premiere or Final Cut?
Oh man, that's Premiere.
Oh man,
day,
he's a
man.
Premiere guy. He's a Premiere. I'm team Final Cut. I don't know. So last one. I already know what he's gonna say on this one. This is gonna be a simple one. Sony or Canon?
Canon.
Oh, team Canon. Canon.
That was a quick one, huh?
Yeah. So why do you choose Canon?
It's all I've used. It's all I've known. I've maybe shot with a Sony and a Panasonic. I have a Panasonic GH5S. Sony, I don't know. I've wanted to try it out, but I've just been, okay with Canon. Yeah, I haven't had any reason to go away from it.
And he actually was the one who actually made me switch to Canon. The reason I switched to Canon is number one, they have super great autofocus. Like, I can move anywhere and I'm gonna be in focus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Number two reason. The colors, like straight out of camera.
That's the main thing.
I don't have to shoot in any type of like flat profile, and then I can if I want to. I have the flexibility to do that. But if I'm just doing something like this where I don't really want to just like edit any color, just hit record, and I don't even have to really edit.
The colors are wonderful, man.
And then the ease of use, like the menus are just like very easy to use. The buttons are like in a very ergonomic place. Okay, so what's your favorite lens? Like, what's your favorite lens that you have in your kit?
I mean, because I do a lot of video, it's that 24-105. Yeah. Because like I said, it gives me enough zoom. Yeah. But then it also gives me enough wide. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but my favorite is actually the 50 because of the way it looks. Yeah. You can't beat a 50 millimeter. I don't care what camera, Sony.
You can put it on anything.
You can put it on anything.
That's what this angle is right here.
Yeah. I mean, the 50 is just, it looks so smooth. The colors.
If I tell anybody to invest, like your first lens that you invest in is just get a 50 millimeter.
Just get a 50.
Like if you're just starting photography, videography, you just like getting your feet wet, you don't know a whole lot about changing settings and stuff, get you a 50 millimeter. 1.8 is gonna give you that blurry depth of field. Like that's what a lot of people want. They're like, how do I get that blurry look?
That's what they want, right?
The depth of field. If you want that, just get you a 50, set the thing to 1.8, and it's gonna blur out your background.
Let it go.
Just let it go. This has been a pleasure, man. This has been a pleasure. I mean, I know we might have to follow it up with a part 2.
Man, listen, it's a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about, man. But I appreciate you coming through, man.
Absolutely, bro.
So Spencer and I appreciate you guys joining. This is gonna be the first of many of these podcasts where we talk about just business in general. For those of you who may want to jump into different areas and aspects of business, we're going to bring in professionals of those particular arenas. Let us know what kind of professional work that you would like to see us feature. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about finance. Of course, we're going to talk about more creative stuff in days to come. So you guys stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.